Hello everybody, my name is Starrapter. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for Wonder Woman 1984. This is a sequel to 2017's Wonder Woman, and this is available in the US. At least you can watch it on HBO Max if you have a subscription to that, as well as see it in your local theater. I've seen it at my local AMC. We got our tickets online ahead of time, picked our seats. We are properly masked up as well as being socially distant from anybody else watching the movie. It was very safe. There was plenty of sanitizer, so I felt good going back to the movies for the first time since I think August, which is when I seen Tenet. So let's get into the movie. It's going to be hard to really talk about this one, to be honest with you guys, because the plot device is a big reveal, and I do not want to talk about that a whole lot. But what I will say is that we have Diana Prince, aka Wonder Woman. She is now in the 80s, several decades when we see her in World War I in Wonder Woman 2017. So she is just having this nice job at the Smithsonian studying gems and whatnot, and she bumps into the past of another gemologist named Barbara. And it's with her, she starts to become friends with her, because remember, she has been single pretty much all this time after Steve Trevor tragically died in a plane crash in Wonder Woman in 2017, she has remained single. And it's great to see her kindling this relationship with Barbara. It's a purely platonic friend relationship, right? But we do see that in the trailers, you have Steve Trevor come back somehow. And I'm not going to spoil that because it's a huge, huge moment in this movie for what happens there. So you have these characters intertwining. You also have the character that is played by Pedro Pascal, and this character, his name is Maxwell Lord, and he's really an oil mogul, and he is basically trying to get this business off the ground, trying to basically have world domination, right? He is our villain of the story, but there's a lot more nuance to him. There's a lot more that dives into his character for a villain like we haven't seen that in the DCEU. I'll be honest with you, and I'm going to get right into my positives here for you guys for things I liked about Wonder Woman 1984 is the character development, the character depth for all these characters, these four main characters here. They have something to show. And this is something that I didn't really expect. Obviously, the villains in the DCEU are just a little bit more one note for the most part. I'm looking at the villain in the first Wonder Woman movie. It ends up being Ares, the god of war, and he's just a huge CGI battle at the end. I appreciated there wasn't anything to that extent coming out of this movie. There was more of a personal story, more of a struggle for these characters, seeing where Maxwell Lord starts his life, seeing his relationship with his son, which adds a lot more humanity. I like seeing the moral battles between these characters, seeing Wonder Woman and how she is doing with this version of Steve Trevor and what she has to give up and what she needs to save the world. It has a lot more resting on shoulders. What happens when Wonder Woman becomes vulnerable, right? This movie treats the characters like they do have some kind of risk, something to lose in this movie. And you look at these major characters in these movies and you want to see them get put through the ringer. You want to see them get tested. And right off the bat, this movie starts with a flashback on Themyscira. You have, the character played by Robin Wright. You also have the queen of the Aztecs, or not the Aztecs, sorry, the queen of the Amazonians, and they go through this awesome Olympic battle kind of race thing where they're on horses, they're doing crazy acrobatics, and the locales looked absolutely incredible. This is supposed to be like this idyllic location, and I'm not sure where they shot it, but man, oh man, it looked like a pure spectacle and a great way to open up the movie. Seeing the different camera angles, seeing the creative ways of seeing the motion on the screen of this very fast moving, cutting back and forth and really going from different angles added to the flair of this movie and gave it that comic book edge that I don't think the first one quite had compared to this. I do like the feeling of the 80s and going into that fish out of water story that we got with Wonder Woman, where Wonder Woman is getting introduced to the new world, right, with all the machines and everything else. And now it's the reverse that is happening. Wonder Woman is showing the world to Steve Trevor since he has been gone since the since like the 1915, 1917, whenever that might have been. So it's cool seeing her kind of return the favor there. I do like Kristen Wiig's character as well. I think she's known for her role in Saturday Night Live, so it's cool seeing her chops. Her acting chops are great. She plays this very geeky character, But then halfway through the movie, there is something that happens to her, and we all see in the trailers, she becomes Cheetah. So seeing that transformation, seeing again, there's a common morality and a common theme to this movie, which I appreciate. It's like, what will you give up to get what you want? There's always going to be a risk, a give and take. And I like how they really showed this come true. I like how throughout this film you see more chaos getting enveloped. This movie basically starts, and a large part of it is in Washington D.C. So you see the unrest. You see how this villain is so powerful. Maxwell Lord is so powerful to assert his power in such a quick way. And again, it deals with this certain thing that happens between all these characters. Again, this is spoiler free, but I feel like it's worth hitting home that at first, this sort of thing that I'm mentioning very obscurely and ambiguously didn't really sit with me right. But as the movie went forward, it's the themes, it's the morality that was basically presented because of this certain thing that happened, which made me appreciate the movie even more. I think this movie, what Patty Jenkins does is create some of the most powerful superhero moments for me personally. I felt touched at a certain moment towards the end of the movie when you see the ultimate choice that, Wonder Woman has to make. And in doing so, it does change her character going forward. And we do see tons of character development in her character. I think that there's the message of truth is very strong in this. The way that she's able to use her lasso of truth, and it basically speaks its own verbiage as far as like what truth is in the matter of the whole world. It really hit me as the messaging in this movie more than the first one for sure. And again, I just think that this movie felt like Wonder Woman. It felt like, especially opening up this movie, like this feels like a Wonder Woman movie compared to something like a Dark Knight movie or a Superman movie. It has its own kind of vibes, that bright feeling, that inspiration, Wonder Woman being there for the innocents, being there for the people, doing what she can to make things keep on turning on planet Earth. And with that, I will go to my cons. And I will say some pretty big parts were a little bit ambiguous with this movie. Not gonna lie, things that kind of made me think, but then they got better explained as the movie went on. I feel like some people, some audiences might be a little bit perturbed by that. Like, okay, what happened? Rewind. How did that happen? But for me, I was able to kind of think past that just because of what was presented to me as far as, like I said, the themes, the moral of the story, the overall feeling as I left the theater feeling, just happy. Like I seen a comic book movie, and you got to put that in perspective, right? This is a comic book movie. Set your expectations. You've seen the trailers. You know what Wonder Woman is, what she can do. She can run really fast. She can go through the air. All those things take place in here in great form. You're going to see stuff that obviously is not even trying to be grounded in reality. And I think if you go in with that mindset, you're going to really enjoy this movie. I think there's a little bit more action that might have been needed towards the middle of the movie. The pacing does get a little bit slower. This is a little bit slower of a comic book movie, but I think it does sort of make up for that slowness towards the end of the movie where things just get ratcheted up. And as I said, the villain, he is almost like an antagonist to the fact that he doesn't exactly feel quite like a villain, and I felt sympathy for him. I feel like that this character was really trying to believe in what he was doing up until the very end. So with that being said, I got to give Wonder Woman 1984 a score of an 8 out of 10. I do enjoy the first Wonder Woman just a little bit more than 1984, but what I will say is Patty Jenkins delivered a movie that definitely didn't go the way I thought it would go. It felt a little bit different. It dived into the characters more and more, and it just kind of peeled away the layers of these characters and introduced one of the most refreshing villains I've seen, especially in the DCU, but even compared to some Marvel villains, I think that Maxwell Lord definitely holds up. So did you guys check out Wonder Woman 1984? What'd you think about the movie? Let's talk about it in that comment section down below. For more on movie reviews, hopefully I have more coming up soon, but for other things like Star Wars and video games, you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on any of that content. That's going to do it for me, Starrapter. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye. Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also include 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Starrapter.